everyone. Good morning. Welcome to this session of the Global Fashion Conference 2021. And this session is on challenges for sustainable production, new materials and circularity. And for this session, we will have two distinguished speakers. Elsa Parente from RDD Textiles, Portugal, and Monica Malinovska from the Textile Design at Lodz University of Technology, Poland. And before introducing them, perhaps I may introduce myself. So I'm professor and researcher at University of Minho, Portugal. I'm also the director of the Center for Textile Science and Technology and the head of FIBRENAMICS, the Institute of Fibers and Composites for Innovation. So this is a very important topic. We know that over the last years, many research activities have been developed on this topic, on the topic of new materials to face sustainability, not only materials, but also technologies. And this is a very important topic nowadays to address this topic of sustainability. So we will start with our first speaker. I'm looking at the program, Monica. So we have Monica and Elsa. So perhaps we may start with Elsa. And Elsa holds a degree in chemistry, and she is the CEO of RDD Textiles, a company part of the Valerius Group here in Portugal. RDD Research Design Development is the laboratorial company of the Portuguese textile group Valerius that provides integrated innovation solutions from new concepts and designs to the final product for global fashion brands. In this regard, Elsa has collaborated in the development of projects with other companies and universities to achieve more sustainable quality solutions. One of these projects was carried out with the University of Cambridge, aiming the development and the implementation of a textile staining process with bacteria. Perhaps Elsa will share this project with us today. So Valerius Group is the major groups, one of the major groups on textiles, apparel and footwear in Portugal. And I know that Parente has created RDD from scratch 4 years ago after a professional career of more than 18 years at Intex Textiles, where she held managerial positions in production, ID and commercial. RDD Textiles has conquered the distinctions and awards by launching new knitting textiles that are biodegradable, recycled, and with distinct properties. So I am aware about all these activities of Elsa and all these nice outcomes coming from RDD Textiles. We are also engaged in some projects with the University of Minho and RDD. So it's a great pleasure to have Elsa here with us today. So the stage is yours, Elsa, please.
Thank you, Raul, for the presentation, the very good presentation. I don't have so much to say on top of this. Thank you for the Global Fashion Conference. It's really a pleasure to be here and to have the opportunity to share with you all that we are doing at RDD at Valerius Group concerning the sustainable production and so the new products and materials on the circularity. So RDD, as Raul mentioned, so we are a fabric producer in Portugal. We are very focused on the R&D of the textile materials and also the process according to all the steps of the textile production. We integrate a team of thinkers and makers, a multidisciplinary team, so from different areas, not only the textile, but from chemical, biology, that work day by day with all our stakeholders. So with this way that we have to work, we provide integrated and innovative solutions for the global fashion brands. So we have the mission to inspire the new modern, conscious and very demanding fashion market. And we are committed to create a sustainable fashion system based on different pillars. So I will explain just the most important that we have: the circularity, the regeneration, and engineered color. On the circularity, we have the purpose to minimize the negative impact of the industry of textile production and reduce the consumption of primary resources such as the chemical, the water, energy consumption, and also very important for us is the landfill occupation. So Valerius is one of our huge projects. It's now, the scale-up process is already done, so we are running the production on a normal way. And with Valerius 360, we recycle the textile waste from overproduction and unsold stocks. So from our partner brands and also from our internal manufacturing production. So as Raul mentioned, we are an integrated, Valerius Group is an integrated textile group. So we have some spinning to the manufacturing. So on the manufacturing, we produce a lot of waste, not only the cutting waste, but also the defect garments and full garments. So the purpose with this project is to use all this waste as a raw material to produce the yarns and jersey fabrics. On the regeneration, what are we doing? So alternative artificial fibers for us will return the core of our collection. So it's our focus. These fibers are created with cellulosic materials extracted from textile waste or vegetable sources. In parallel, we also have natural breathability, moisture management, and also other wellness functionalities on these fibers. Now we are going more in detail on some of the fibers that we aim to use more and more in our collection. So Circulose is a dissolving pulp made 100% of cotton textile waste instead of wood. The cellulose, as we know, is the most abundant organic polymer in the planet, an integral element of trees and plants, which can be found in the purest natural form in the cotton fibers. The fibers produced with the Circulose are equivalent to the virgin fibers, so they can be used on their own or mixed with other different fibers. Also, the Lyocell bamboo, we are very focused on this new fiber. It's a new age fiber born from bamboo, a plant that grows very fast without need of irrigation or pesticides, and is produced on a closed loop process, 100% biodegradable fiber. That is soft, is also very silky. The Ccell. The Ccell, it's a light, soft, and it's very soft to the skin and is natural breathable. It's produced using methods that can save energy and resources, and it's also again produced on a closed loop process. Beauty fiber from Umorphil. It's a biodegradable bionic fiber that results from the bonding of the collagen peptide amino acid from the recycled scale and lyocell fibers. Another pillar from our range is the engineered color and what we are doing around this topic. The traditional ways of dyeing are negative for the planet, as they are the most polluting and energy consumers involved on the textile processes. Around this topic, we have two projects that we run internal on the scale up. One is Recichrome, it's with an Italian partner that we have, and Recichrome use innovative technologies that dye the fabrics with colorate powder. So we use 100% made from textile starch. This powder that we use is 100% produced with textile starch. So yes, again, this process uses 100% of recycled textile materials. So the Recichrome process can be applied in cotton, wool, linen, and also other natural fibers. And using also the traditional techniques of dyeing, exhaust-dyeing, dipping, spray, or screen printing. At RDD, we are more focused on the exhaust-dyeing, is the process that we have in-house. Again, on the engineered color, we have colorific. Colorific is one of the most important projects that we have concerning the dyeing. Colorific is a collaborative project that started at Cambridge University. And with this project, we produce colors in a natural way. So we did the DNA presently later and introducing this DNA information to microorganisms that can produce colors for the dyeing fabrics process. So we were the first chosen partner in the world to scale up this process for industry and production. And also, we have here some important numbers that matter. So we don't use any acids, solvents, or alcohol for the dyeing process. We save up to 90% of water and chemical consumption. On the energy, this was 20%, it was on the beginning. We are now up to 40% of energy saving. Also less 90% of waste production. And it's, in the end, a highly efficient and cost-effective process. So at RDD, we also work on collaborative projects with brands that contribute also to change the fashion system. So plant fiber and food fiber brand Pangaia, it was created with RDD Textiles. The food fiber, it's a range that repurposes the food waste, turning banana leaf fiber, pineapple leaf fiber, and bamboo into a new innovative fabric. Plant fiber uses renewable, fast-growing plants, such as the Himalayan nettle, the bamboo, eucalyptus, and seaweed. A new range that we are very focused, it's a very new range from this last collection that we present, is the food waste, the food textile by RDD. So the food textiles propose a new way to solve the food loss. So extracting the grains from the food companies dispose of vegetable waste and using them to make the dyes. So a single food product can generate dyes of different colors, which can be applied to dye the cotton. This dyeing process can be done in yarn, fabric, or even the finished garments. So finally, I present the ECHOBLACK by RDD. So the ECHOBLACK is made through the processing of wood waste into innovative, high-performing, true black pigments. So with a closed-loop production that emits zero greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide, ECHOBLACK coating are safe for human health and also different from the other petroleum black pigments. So this was the most important information that we selected to share with all of you. So everything that we are doing at RDD concerning all the topics that we are discussing here today.
Thank you, Elsa, for your presentation and for sharing what you are doing there at RDD with us. You are doing a lot related to this topic of sustainability. And as far as I understood, you are working mainly on the raw materials and then to apply these raw materials into more sustainable products for the fashion industry. And that is amazing what you are doing. We have a comment or a question from Leslie Campbell. How do you get a sustainable white?
Well, this is a challenger question.
Yes.
Well, the easier and the first answer is we don't have yet a sustainable white. I can speak on this topic. I can speak more in detail on our colorific project, which was created with the Cambridge University, where we are creating this color card produced with microorganisms. So we are not yet on the white. The purpose is to work on the colors. Also because the fashion demands the colors. In fact, white, it's not like the fashion color that is most important for brands. So our purpose is on the colors, but of course the white, it's a challenge and we will get there. This will be on the next step. But the answer is no, we don't have yet a sustainable white. We have processes within our dye house that save water, energy. Of course, this is transversal in our way to work. All our processes, even the conventional ones, we have implemented several practices to save water, energy, to use dye stuffs that are according to Ocotex, to reach to GOTS, but this is already the normal way to work also on all the traditional textile companies in Portugal and Wargold. So yeah, the white will be a challenge for the future, but for sure we will get there.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Elsa, perhaps a comment or a question from my side. As you are dealing with a lot of projects there and different projects with different objectives, but all addressing this topic of sustainability, which is very important. How do you define the strategy of your company in this situation for sustainability? How did you select all these projects, and why do you think they are all important for your strategy?
Okay, so our concern first is we are a textile company. So because of that, we produce a lot of waste. We consume a lot of water and energy and chemicals. So, well, this is everything around the textile being one of the most pollutant industries in the world. So we have a huge team of R&D. We have our pillars for this the way we work, and we have different teams. So we have different teams working on different times. So we have teams always around these pillars. We have teams looking for new projects, get in contact with universities, trying to find some projects, some entities starting that we can in the end scale up, because our vision is always to start on the laboratory stage, but then for us to be able to scale up all this process, because in the end we are an industrial textile company. So we have these teams that are more advanced, and they start looking for this project that we can in the end select some of them and start on the normal R&D projects. And in the end, of course, you know, this when we start on the laboratory stage, we may have a lot of difficulties. So some of these projects can die during the process. So in the end, we measure the LCA of each project. So we have an internal team that calculates the life cycle assessment of all these projects. So we calculate everything that we do internal, and in the end, we need to make a decision on the project to scale up. So this, according to the savings that we have, to the access that we have to the raw materials, because nowadays all these new fibers that I also mentioned, they are not locally producing.
Yeah.
Which is also for us a challenge, because they are like around China, India, and so on. So we try to select these projects for the scale up, for the next project step, which is the scale up, according to all these topics. The LCA, which includes all the consumption of water, energy, carbon emissions, also the logistics, because we know that when we import fibers and yarns from China, the impact on the LCA is huge. And on the other side, the production that we have, the scale-up conditions that we have. So in the end, we have the less impact also on our costs. So this is more or less the way we work. And of course, on these steps, we have different teams. When we select the first project, then we have other teams that will be managing this project internal and with the university, as we are doing also already with the FIBRENAMICS. And then the third team, which is more on the production for the scale up, for all the testing, for all the parameters that we need to share.
Very good, very nice. Thank you very much for sharing that. We have already one more question here. I believe they are two, actually. So, hello, Elsa. Thank you for your presentation. This is from Lisa Kebler. What do you think about recycling as a strategy to implement CA successfully with regard to rebound effects and pull effects for textile waste?
So this is concerning the waste and where we collect the waste. So we have a huge capacity production in our group. So we have a capacity to produce 200,000 pieces per week, which is huge. So we now still collecting all the waste in garments from our internal production. So everything is around Portugal. We have also other manufacturing units in Portugal that we want to start collecting, not only within our group. So on the north in Portugal, the textile industry is very strong. So we have a huge quantity of waste and cutting waste that we can use for our production on the mechanical recycling process. We know that when we collect the cutting waste or the garments from all over the world, if we get to this step, we need to have special care, because we don't know how they were produced, how was the dyeing process, if we have any chemical restrictions, something that we can check. But for the moment, we are collecting locally. And also what we are doing with our partner brands on this project is receiving the unsold garments or overproduction that they have. So for now, we can control, and we're still controlling all the process. For the next step, if we start receiving cutting waste and garments worldwide, for this next step, we need to have special cares.
Okay. I believe the other part of the question is related to reduction, because I'm seeing lots of projects on sustainability, and usually they are not addressing this part of the first R, that is the reduction. But perhaps that is not so much related with and it is, but with the company's strategy, but more perhaps on the consumers' education and consumers' awareness for this type of issues.
Yes, that's true. Because textile, everyone speaks about the textile and about the overproduction and the fast fashion. It's true, but as a company, we produce because we have a demand. So we need to start in the end. The consumer here and in the other circularity projects is the key, because if the consumer is quite well informed and it's concerned when he's doing when he buys garments, or this is the key for all the process, because it's true that we are a company, so the company needs to produce, and if we have the demand, we need to produce. So this should all start on the final consumer.
Yes. Do you think that because we understand, and sometimes we feel that this type of products with this sustainable approach incorporation, sometimes they are more expensive than other textiles. We know that a recycled fiber-based yarn usually is not less expensive than a virgin one. Do you think that it is required to have some political policies to put people selecting these type of textiles when they are buying clothing somewhere in a shop or something?
Yes, for sure. The price it's in parallel with the consumer. The price is also a key, because in the end, the price is also what matters, not only for the consumer but for the brands that we work that are buying our products. With the price in the end, in all these years that I work on the textile, we are getting always on the same point is the price. Of course, people are changing, mentality is changing, and people are now balance the price and all the ventures and everything that we are doing to produce a certain recycle or a more eco-friendly product. But yes, the price is not the same. We are now facing huge problems with prices concerning the conventional cotton and the organic cotton. So now we are on the point that the recycled items that we produce are on the same price level of the conventional ones.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, this is problematic. We have on the textile, and not only on the textile, we heard on the news every day. In all the industries, we are facing huge problems with prices, with no raw material.
Yeah.
So now
with the energy, perhaps.
Yes.
The energy as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the energy as well. Yeah. So yeah. We are, and we also work on the price in order to have a similar price on the recycled products comparing to the conventional ones.
Okay. So we have other question here in the chat. Do I understand correctly that these innovative textiles are not produced in Portugal but in Asia?
No, this is
now
not.
You have to answer that. This one you have to clarify.
Yes, for sure. For sure. No, everything is produced internal in Portugal. Of course, we have this problematic for these very special fibers. they are not, some of these very innovative fibers, some of them, not all, some of them are still produced on the scale-up process. They are produced more in China. But in this case, we only import the fiber. We are a very close communication with our partners. We only import the fiber, and then we produce everything in Portugal. So everything it's produced in Portugal. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So we don't have any other questions. Any other question in the chat? So perhaps we can, from the technical point of view, when you select this type of materials, this type of fibers that are more sustainable, some of them based on plants or extracted from plants, are they offering some, of course they are offering some characteristics and properties that are important, but as far as I know, they are also difficult to process because they are more stiff, or they are absorbing a lot of moisture and so on. Do you also develop your own technologies, your own processes in order to be able to process this type of fibers with these difficulties?
Yes. When we start with these very new fibers, for instance, we have the banana and the pineapple. So these are very difficult fibers to handle since the beginning of the spinning. And we start, on the beginning, on the very first step, checking all the technical difficulties that we have. So step by step, we don't move on for the next step if we don't have all the technical issues solved, or sometimes we need to change the percentage that we use of these fibers, maybe combine with more easier fibers to work. So not only on the fiber, but also on the fiber combinations. So in the end, we may have the perfect fabric, which is under our quality parameters.
Okay, that's great. About that group of projects that you called the engineered color, what is the stage of those projects? Do you have already enough material to incorporate in your production, or this is still in a low-scale production and you are doing the experiments so that you can then apply it in a large-scale way?
Yeah, the colorifics project, we started this in December 2019. First on the laboratory scale, so everything was this is a patent from the Cambridge University. Everything was already studied in the laboratory. So we started the process in our house in December 2019, and we are now more 2 years that we start almost, and we are now on the stage that we are able to produce up to 50 kilos per batch.
Okay.
This is a limitation of the equipment, so we don't need any special equipment for the dyeing process. We use only a bioreactor to do the first fermentation of the process, and then we go for the normal dyeing equipment.
Dyeing process, yeah.
Our limitation now, it's only the equipment, the bioreactor. We should be already running in bulk, but of course, with all these limitations on the metallic elements, so everything it's in delay, all the transport issues.
Yes.
So the project it was delayed almost 1 year with all this COVID situation. But we are now prepared for the scale up, and we are receiving in the next 2 weeks 2 bioreactors of 3,000 liters each. And of course, we have the brands already, the selected brands waiting to start the process. Okay. But on the colorifics, we are already, the scale-up process is implemented. It was not easy. Also, the scientists that worked with us, they were quite surprised with all the difficulties that we face on the process. Of course, they started on the microbiology laboratory, so all the conditions, everything was in perfect conditions when they started on the textile industry, and on the laboratory it is within a dye house on the textile industry. Well,
always same problem. Yes,
but it was a challenge also for us. It was it was very good, but now we are ready to start.
Of course.
On the Recichrome, the Recichrome, which is the other project that we have on this topic, we are still on the sampling trials, also on the production, because this process was studied and it's running already quite well on the garment type process. But for us, the focus is the piece type. So we always like to do the difficult things, not the easy ones. So we're still improving. And with this process, we also create great stories, because for a specific brand, if they have like the black that they usually produce, we can collect the scarves, the cutting waste, and produce like a gray with the same black waste that they use. So it's also a nice story.
Yeah. So this will be for sure breakthroughs in this area, and you are going to contribute for that. Yes.
Yeah.
And that collaboration with universities, of course, is always very important to come up with these innovative solutions.
Yes, I think this collaboration with university and institutes, it's a win-win situation, because the university alone, they can develop the technology, but then they cannot scale up. They cannot go to the industry.
Yeah.
And from the other side, on the industry, if we are alone on the R&D, we cannot go. So this should be a partnership with the universities and institutes, and it's for sure a win-win. For those partners.
I believe that that each partner has a very important role to play. And he needs to know exactly what is the role to be played, and to not try to overlap what the other is doing, and the skills we may have. Because definitely the skills we have at companies and in laboratories and companies like yours are different from those ones we have at universities. So we just need to integrate and to create teams that work together, and to know exactly what are the skills each one can give and bring to these consortiums. And I guess you do that very well. Yes, you do it. So I have one question here in the chat. My understanding is from Leslie Campbell again. My understanding is that hemp is an eco fiber. Do you use it or not? Yeah, we didn't see in your portfolio, perhaps it's not so innovative.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. It's not so innovative. Of course, it's a very good fiber that we are using, and we have a huge demand from brands for the hemp. But yes, we usually, for us, it's not so new, because in fact it's not a new fiber. Now people are realizing all the advantages that we have with the hemp. And also because there is like a trend. It's not a trend. I think it's a need, but for some brands it's a trend to avoid everything that is with cotton.
Are you using it 100% or in blends with other fibers?
With blends.
Yes. Because as far as I know, it's not easy to process 100% hemp.
No.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah, that's it. We are now trying the 50%. Depending on the yarn count, we are now trying the 50%, because we want to increase as much as possible this kind of fibers on the fabric composition. But yeah, it's
perhaps the combinations are more with natural fibers as well, cellulosic fibers, cotton or
cotton. Also the lyocell, it works quite well, and it helps also on the process.
That's great. So we have other questions from Joana Monteiro. Thank you for your presentation. Very interesting. Which type of companies buy your innovative textiles? This is an interesting question. Yes.
Yes, I can mention a few brands that are also with us in these colorific projects. One I mentioned already is Pangaia. Pangaia, it's a key partner for us. They do a great job also concerning all these topics that we are discussing, and they are focused not only on the consumer, but also working with other brands, trying to influence with all these values that they share. So Pangaia, it's very important, and we have other brands like H&M. H&M was the pioneer brand working and launching a collection on the colorifics. And we have other important partners like the Caring Group, with Balenciaga, Hugo Boss, Armadillo. So these are one of the most important and maybe the most well-known brands that we work with on this project.
Very, very interesting. Okay, let me check the chat. Okay, thank you. You mentioned these fibers, Ccell and Lyocell, and I guess you mentioned also this Circulose fibers project with the cellulose fiber cutting textile waste. Can you give some highlights about this part of your projects, this group of projects?
Yes, this kind of fibers, everything which is around the pulp dissolving, it's a target for us. So we want to use more and more in our collection. Again, we are always on the same topic. So to avoid the consumption of the natural resources, so to avoid the consumption of the cotton, which is using a lot of water, chemicals, land occupation. So with this new fish fiber like the cellulose that use the cotton textiles, not the wood, to produce the fiber, for us it's a very important topic. Of course, we are using a lot the lyocell, which is also a very eco-friendly fiber.
Yeah,
it is produced from the wood pulp. It has a lot of advantages. The Ccell, it's also it's a lyocell, it's the same production process, but we have the seaweed incorporated, which gives some advantages, very good advantages, also for the skin, for the health. So around this artificial fibers produced from natural resources, for us, it's also a focus. And we also try to find all over the world, because there are not so many companies doing this kind of process. Luckily, we have a few in Europe. So yes, for us, this is a focus. Also trying to avoid the consumption of the natural, of the cotton, the conventional cotton.
Okay, very good. Elsa, I believe we may talk a little bit about the future. What is your strategy for the future? Your RDD, of course, and Valerius Group. What are your next steps? What are your next projects? What you see? What are you seeing RDD doing in the next 10 years? What are your expectations for that?
So we have two for the next year. We have two visions. So we have all these projects that we started. So RDD, it's a young company. We started 4 years ago, so it's a young company doing a lot already, but it's still only 4 years. So we have all these projects that we need to concretize, and some of them they're still on the very preliminary stage. So we need to go in more concrete and run it in production, because some of them, the colorifics and the hexichrome, we want to change our conventional dyeing process. We want to change it not for 100% with this process, but at least to 60%. So this will take us between 5 to 10 years. And the next step is, of course, keep working on this projects that can reuse all the waste that we produce. Also, with the climate change, there are some breaks, like on the seaweed. We have some people in our team trying to find all this climate change in the ocean. So we have now breaks of algae that we want also to use. The algae is something that we are looking very careful, because we may have a lot of advantage using this kind of algae as a raw material, not only for the fibers, but maybe also for the dyeing and finishing process. So the purpose is to again and always to think all over the world what we can use that is a prey or is something that is not good for the environment, and use it as a raw material. So this is our purpose, and this is what we will do for the future.
Yeah, and you have a lot to do.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You have a great job to do.
For sure.
We just have a final question here, and I want to give the opportunity Monica also to put her question. To what extent are the fibers you are working with a challenge in terms of creating more complex decorative patterns? So this is the relationship of the materials themselves, but also with the patterns we can, decorative patterns we can produce with this type of fibers. I don't see a limitation.
No, the curative pattern we can do it on the same way as we are doing on the conventional fibers. Some of these new fibers may help also to have and to improve some decorative patterns, some designs that we need on the fabrics. So yes, it's the same, and sometimes we can even have better results.
Yeah. So Elsa, thank you very much for your presentation and for sharing all these things you are doing there at RDD. Thank you and best wishes for your projects.